So I will start. The first speaker is Mr. Anil Jauhri, sir, co-chair of steering committee of BME scheme as well as HEALTEXPRO scheme. He is having over 44 years of quality assurance experience with industry and national and international accreditation and certification system. He was the ex-CEO, National Accreditation Board for Certification Bodies. He is the member of Steering Committee of Global Carbon Council, and he is also the member of various accreditation panel and certification board across the global. And he is a IAF evaluator, formerly APAC lead peer evaluator, and NABCB lead assessor. So today he is here to tell about the BME scheme and Heal Text Pro scheme, its introductions and the importance of having this scheme and how it can contribute the quality in the hospitals, that is patient care, as well as the safety for the patient care. So over to you, Anil sir.
Thanks, Karthik. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm very happy to be here. I would like to thank Kaho for coming forward to organize this webinar on the schemes of AMTZ and AMTZ for coordinating and getting the team together to speak to you on various aspects of the two schemes that are on the table. One important part of healthcare quality, which to my mind is not being so well understood among healthcare professionals, is the quality of the products that they use. Drug regulation has been there for a long time, whether it's modern medicine or Ayush. But unfortunately, in India, the medical devices were not regulated really, and very partially regulated till 2017 or 2018. It's only in 2020 that entire gamut of medical devices was brought under regulation with a transition time which is still on. So some of you might be surprised that class C and D, which are the high risk medical devices, are still not fully regulated. The licensing regime kicks in from 1st of October 2023, whereas for class A and B, the lower risk medical devices, the regime has kicked in. Now, when regulations come in any sector, they throw up a need for a couple of other things. One is need for qualified professionals to manage the regulation within the industry or to help the small industry, the consultants and trainers outside the industry, because small units may not be able to afford full-time people. There are also, there are areas which are unregulated, which are sort of support to the regulation. And I would like to congratulate Dr. Sharma, of the chief of AMTZ, for recognizing this need and coming forward to create a vertical in AMTZ to sort of develop and maintain such schemes which will address these areas. So one of these areas is biomedical equipment maintenance. Once the equipment is certified, regulated, etc., then there's a question that does it perform consistently well. So the good maintenance is necessary for that. And therefore, one area which was touched and attacked was the area of biomedical equipment maintenance organizations, which could be hospital themselves may have their own wings, or third-party organizations which specialize in maintaining biomedical equipment. Similarly, a second such area was about laundries. I mean, initially we started by saying hospital laundries because post-COVID, or rather with the onset of COVID, we saw a tremendous rise in use of PPEs. The demand grew and the single-use PPEs were generating a lot of waste. So there was a concern, not only here, but globally, that how can we manage the waste and can there be multiple-use PPEs? And if there are going to be multiple-use PPEs, then the question is that after one use, they go for washing. Is that effective? Will they remain effective after that? So that's the issue which came up as far as multiple-use healthcare textiles. We broadened the ambit to say healthcare textiles I believe it will cover all kinds of healthcare textiles, from bed sheets to pillow covers to everything. But the concern was the same, that uh, there's no transmission of infection and they are properly washed and they retain their efficacy. Somebody said no audio. Can you not hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, somebody wrote no audio, so he may have a trouble. So there's another area which we are trying to address is about validation of medical devices. A lot of new medical devices are being created. Somebody has to validate. The startups and the innovators are struggling where to go to validate their medical device, and this is pre-licensing area, and to satisfy the requirements of the regulation, because there are regulatory requirements for validation or clinical investigation of medical devices in the medical devices rules 2017. So I see this entire ecosystem of regulation. Healthcare should be under regulation. Every aspect of healthcare should be under regulation, because it pertains to health, and by all international norms, including WTO agreements on whether it's on products or services. We have a technical barriers to trade agreement. We have a general agreement of trade in services. They all recognize the need for regulation when it comes to health. It's unfortunate that medical devices were not regulated till recently. It's unfortunate that healthcare services are still not fully regulated. We have a Clinical Establishment Act, which came up in 2010. As of now, the latest figure is that 12 states and 6 union territories minus Delhi have adopted the Clinical Establishment Act, but they have not still enforced the minimum standards. There are minimum standards laid down under Clinical Establishment Act. In fact, I attended a meeting of the Governing Council of Clinical Establishment Act 2 months back, and we have approved the standards for hospitals. They should be notified shortly. So there's a whole range of standards which are at play, some through regulation and some through voluntary mechanisms. And that's where these kind of initiatives come. The initiatives like certifying biomedical equipment suppliers, maintenance organizations, certifying those who process medical or healthcare textiles, certifying those who might develop, validate medical devices, and we can identify more areas which might need support. So this is the philosophy behind having this vertical in AMTZ and coming up with these schemes. And along with AMTZ, there are 2 more organizations with joint hands. One is Association for Healthcare Providers India, AHPI, which is an association of hospitals, a huge one. CAHO is an association of accredited healthcare organizations. AHPI is an association of all kinds of hospitals. And the second one, where Dr. Gyani is the DG, who was my boss in Quality Council of India years ago when I joined in 2006. And then we have Association of Indian Medical Device Industry, IMED, where Mr. Rajiv Nath is the forum coordinator, who so passionately advocates the interest of medical device industry. So we have all stakeholders present here. The users, that is the hospitals, are present as scheme owners. The producers of medical devices and PPs, etc., in the form of AMED are present. And AMTZ is playing another role of having the scheme park there and managing the scheme. This is in line with the global trend. There are globally number of certification schemes operated by largely by non-governmental sector, because in West it is more understood. In India, we don't clearly define this role, but in West it's clearly understood that regulation is the job of the government. Voluntary certification and voluntary accreditation is the job of the stakeholders, not of the government. So government should focus, and to my mind, given the size of India and given the complexity of regulation in India, my own view remains that our government should focus on regulation and should not bother too much about operating or developing or managing voluntary schemes. They are not so good at managing them either, and we should leave it to the market. And we are today a very mature economy. Our industry bodies have come a long way. Our other organizations have come a long way, and we are capable of creating, developing, and managing voluntary schemes of the kind that you are seeing here. So let me conclude here. Again, welcome you all to this program. And we have lined up a galaxy of speakers for you who have huge experience in their respective areas, whether it comes to manufacturing of PPEs, it comes to inspection and certification of PPEs, it comes to the management of laundries. So I'm sure you will benefit from this. These are the schemes which are for the benefit of the healthcare industry. Ultimately, we are all looking at benefiting the common man. It's the common man which suffers if there are, there are infections, there are mistakes in healthcare delivery. So we are all, I'm sure, we will all unhesitatingly say that yes, we would like to do things which benefit the common man. And here are two schemes which will support healthcare regulation, healthcare delivery, healthcare quality, and provide, wherever there are gaps, we can push in voluntary certifications or accreditations to fill up those gaps for the time being. At some point of time, I do expect that many of these things will be regulated. Well, that time it will take time, because as we have seen, the regulation itself is taking time in India. So till such time, we have to rely on voluntary, credible voluntary credentialing, which these schemes intend to provide. So with that, those remarks, I would hand over to Karthik to carry this program forward. And I wish all of you the best in terms of gaining knowledge from this program on how to implement these standards within your establishments. I'm hoping, since it's a CAHO organized program, there will be a lot of hospitals here and hopefully third-party laundries as well who would be listening to this, or even third-party biomedical equipment companies who would benefit from this program. With those few words, thank you very much, and all.